Kimi is super fast. I mean, of course he's fast. He's world champion for God's sake. But he needs the car to drive in a certain manner. If the car doesn't have a very sharp front end, he won't adapt to it. That's the difference between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando. Fernando, you throw at him any car, understeering pig, oversteering pig, whatever, and he will be fast, extremely fast, because they know exactly. And you ask them, what do you do? And they don't know what they do. They actually adapt. It's fantastic. I've seen it in Formula One, I've seen it in karting, I've seen it in many formulas. But with Kimi, the car has to suit him. He will not adapt. And back in 2005 and 6, there was the Michelin tires. The Michelin tires had a very unique way of driving. They had a very strong front end. The construction of the front end was extremely different, and it was, Montoya was struggling, I was struggling. We actually could not adapt to this sharp front end in the way Kimi did. And that's why he was super fast. But then he went to Ferrari. Remember, he moved to Bridgestone. And then Felipe Massa was beating him in qualifying easily. So all I'm saying is that, if the conditions were correct, Kimi would be as quick as Luis and Fernando, yes. But out of 20 races, when is the car always behaving the same and is in perfect setup condition?
So do you like oversteer or understeer?
Oversteer. If I have to choose, oversteer, but obviously it's often you cannot choose. So
you like the back end sliding out, yeah? A little bit like that.
Yeah, I think at least for me it's a faster way to do.
As with Kimi Raikkonen, he likes the car to be very positive on the front end, so that the nose is planted firmly on the apex. They are prepared to accept the back end sliding around and even the brakes locked up. It's hard work, but they then use the slide to help turn the car. This high energy driving style demands a specific car setup and is high risk too.
Raikkonen and Michael Schumacher like to go in on the brake, get the nose in, let the back slide a bit, and then point the car out of the corner and floor the throttle. They like to brake and downshift right into the corner and let the back come out of it, and then floor the throttle as quickly as they can. They like the back end to steer the car.
And I know that you're also a great believer in Kimi's style when it comes to minimizing the downsides of tire degradation. And I say that in the context that it's quite common to hear people say, oh, well, Jenson Button is the world's greatest tire conserver because he's so smooth. But it's a deeper thing than that, I think, from your perspective.
Yeah, it is. Well, Jensen's rates of input, the way he tells the car what's coming, it's absolutely superb, and that he's a master at. But he tends to be a more traditional driver, taking the traditional lines and just the one-wheel movement going around corners. It's admirable to look at, but he tends not to manipulate the car mid-corner for direction change, and so the smooth driving, but the corners do go on for a bit longer. And of course, if you've got a problem with your car, then if you've got longer corners, that is a longer arc, then that problem is going to materialize over a greater percentage of a lap. Whereas if you get someone like Kimi, Bottas, and a number of other people, where we have very short corners, just don't spend the time going around them, slightly better direction change mid-corner, in other words, then if there's any problem with the car, then it's not going to manifest over quite such a long percentage, high percentage of the lap. It also obviously looks after the tyres for longer because you've got a slightly squarer, flatter car in for the first 3 or 4 car lengths accelerating out of the corner. It's a very subtle little difference.